Greetings, everyone. Ken Micallef here at the Montreal 2026 Audiofest with SPL founder and CEO Hermann Gier. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thanks a lot. How are you?
I'm doing great. These guys have got the view. This hotel is so strange. It says the 3rd floor, but if you look out the window, you're on the 10th floor.
But yes, it's high.
It's very disconcerting. But I ran to my good friend Walter Schofield on the floor, and he asked me to come into SPL, which is a brand I don't know a lot about. So tell me where the brand is made and give me the rundown of all the components. And you said there are 3 recent components. They're debuting here.
That's right. That's right.
Fill me in.
Okay. SPL is a professional audio company. It was founded as that back in 1983. I'm with the company since 1986. And we're, as I said, we mainly do mastering equipment, studio equipment. So there's all broadcast stuff, recording stuff, and equalizers, compressors, limiters, microphones.
So pro audio companies again.
Pro audio company with a long reputation in the business. And we've come up with a headphone amplifier and in the 2027, where we solved an issue for the recording engineers that they can mix on cans, and that mix translates to speaker playback. And that was a big concern back in the days when studios didn't have enough money for good audio treatment in rooms and stuff like that. So they were like working on headphones a lot, but the difficulties is how does that translate to speakers? Well, some can do it. Most of us can't do it. I'm one of them. I couldn't do it. So I was diving into that theme, and I was working on it to get around the issues of interoral level differences, interoral time differences that result from super stereo effects on headphone playbacks. So, and at that point, we used our proprietary 120 volt rail technology that was designed for the mastering world to come up with a headphone amplifier in the first place to combat the ear fatigue that I always get from standard headphone playback. I used to make a break after 20, 30 minutes because I just couldn't hear longer. And the 120 volt rail, the Voltaire technology gave, expanded that time. And this product, the Phonitor headphone amplifiers, they then became, unknowingly to us, very thought after in the hi-fi world. And my biggest dealer called me up one day saying, "Hey, did you know we're selling more than 50% of your headphone amplifiers to hi-fi people?" And I was like, "What? Really? Is that still a market? Is that still existing?"
What year was that?
That was 2011. And I wasn't aware, although I was like one of the guys in the 70s putting my nose to the windows of the shops where the hi-fi stuff was behind it. I couldn't afford any of those.
That's like me.
But I was just like fascinated by it. I was doing my cassettes at my friends' places, copying records on cassette for my Walkman and stuff like that. So, I was fascinated by the whole thing. And I was just saying, let's take a look at that. If people really dig what we do, maybe they look for other stuff as well. And sure enough, the customers came, "Well, do you make a preamp? Do you also make phono preamp stages? Do you make amplifiers?" And that was actually the start of SPL looking into hi-fi. So this is our current setup that we run here at the show. Let's start from the top. This is our Phonos Duo. That is the second incarnation of our Phonos preamplifier, record player preamplifier. And that's debuting here at the show. So you can see there are big dials up here in the front that allows you to set the capacitance or the impedance for MM and MC systems so that you can play around with that as well, because it also changes tonality, and it's sometimes interesting to match that with your record and the system. So it's good to have it on the front and having it accessible. Has a lot of switching features, gain settings, rumble filters, mono feature even, which I like a lot because there are late 60s records out there, and they have these A-B stereo, and sometimes it's like really like the band is torn apart.
Ping pong, yeah.
Yeah. And you can switch them to mono here and just listen as they were actually originally mixed as a mono mix. And then we have a mute switching here, which I also do really like because when you change, when you clean the needle, when you change the record and you don't want to hear the pulp when it jumps into the groove, you can just mute it here and release the mute so that it's all staying quiet and
Oh, and a fully analog Phonos stage?
Fully analog 120-volt rail. So it's super clean, and we actually designed our own DC rectifiers in the power supply, which is a new thing. The current grid pollution due to solar panels and all of that is causing us a lot of issues, and so we needed to have much better DC rectifiers that we can bring the noise floor down even lower than we had it before, and that's now measuring down to minus 135 dB. So it's that quiet on the power side. Then the next thing is a product that we have in line for a number of years. That's the Director Mk2 preamplifier. Analog digital sources, DAs is built in. It also has XLR receptacles, so you can run professional equipment with that as well. One thing I really like, it features a tape monitor function, which has gone lost over the years. And now we're in a time where tape machines and even cassettes are being built again. And we need to insert them somewhere. So that's what's right here.
You really go for the, what do they call this? Half footprint?
That's actually a footprint that we came up with, that we use. This is pretty much the look.
Well, Cyrus does it as well, I think. Some other brands do it.
They're probably like that wide and about that high. So
yeah,
we're right in the middle.
They look like car stereos in the set.
Yes, exactly. They look a bit tinier than ours. Yes, we kept the looks of the original headphone amplifier, the Phonitor, and stayed in that line because the people bought that and asked for other equipment, so it should match. And yes, in the beginning, people said to me, well, you can't do that. The MIDI size equipment never worked out in the market, and they were not being a success. Well, first of all, we're not doing mass market anyway. We're a startup. We're a small company coming into this market. We have superb technology to offer, and the form factor came to us as a late. Now we know that we couldn't have been better received by dealers and distributors, because they said, hey, glad you do that. I got everything else in the standard format hundreds of times, but this is something that people were asking for. They don't want to go big all the time. There are reasons for not doing that, and you can't offer high quality for that. And no, I can't.
And very often, really big boxes, you look inside on the standard boxes, and there's nothing in there anyway.
Yeah, and that's okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, then the next piece here, that's the Crossover Mk2 that is also debuting here at the show. So it's an analog crossover. There are not a lot of companies on the planet doing it anymore. We've been doing it because we were initially asked by a friend to make him a prototype just to try something out. And he had digital crossovers before, and he said, well, it solves all my issues of attaching the sub sound-wise to the tops, so that it glues together and it's one system. And that convinced ourselves, okay, well, if that's so cool, let's just keep on doing it. Meanwhile, it's the Mark II version. Initially, it was just a crossover to adapt to for subwoofers. But now people are asking, well, can I also do this with my mains that decouple in a higher frequency?
So is this a dual mono?
It's dual mono. And it's got 3 ranges here to choose from, and it goes from 50 hertz to 3.6 kilohertz.
What are all those other switches on there?
Well, this up here is the section for phase correction of the bass. So that's this part. This part is a low cut that cuts everything below 20 hertz just to get the energy out of the amplifiers. Nothing that you don't want to hear, you don't need to amplify. Then you got 12 and 24 dB crossover filters in the low end and in the high end. So both the same 12 and 24 dB. Input switch XLR to RCA. This is the switch for changing the frequency ranges. And you can also run the top, the high pass, you can run that full range if you like. So in here, we decouple the system at 60 hertz on both sides, but you have the freedom to choose different crossover frequencies so that you have an overlap or you avoid an overlap. That is also something you need to figure out and play around. in your room. Yeah. And then we have the S900 with the third product that debuts here. It's
Power amp?
Power amplifier, class AB. This delivers 2 times 200 watts to 8 ohm, 2 times 370 to 4 ohm. Specialty here is that, and that also applies to the S1200, the big body down below. The specialty is
that's another power amp?
It's a power amplifier, yeah. The one we use the smaller one for the subs in here and the bigger one for the tops.
Okay. Why do you do that?
Cable length.
Oh, I hear you. Okay.
It wasn't, it sounds superb. It wasn't intentionally done in one and the other way, but I remember that we've been trying that, and one of my guys said, well, let's keep the 900 on the subs. I said, why is that? It is so freaking fast, and it helps the bass to be more spontaneous.
Right.
Because that's the lamest membrane of all, and to speed that up, it just really helps.
Cool.
That's what we get.
Tell me about these speakers.
These speakers are from Finland. They are from a company called Amphion. And Amphion is also a brand that is both present in hi-fi and pro audio. It's been a lot used in the pro audio world. And with Ansi, the CEO of Amphion, we're teaming up in the pro world, and we're now teaming also up in the hi-fi world here together.
Never know what you care when you put your arms around me. I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You in a fever. Hold me tight. Anytime moonlight up